back to the hottest marriage show in the city furthest east of Lansing. It is I, John D. and
Tanika,
a.k.a.
Damn.
and Too Much Podcast.
It's cold.
Rescripting the culture one conversation at a time. I said that she wanted me to get the heater. She said no. So I don't even know why she just... Well, I guess the blanket gave it away anyway, right?
Look, we live in Michigan, so when he says the heater, we really mean that because we ain't turning this heat on yet.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of crazy to do that.
It's going to be 90 this week. Well, almost 90 this week. So in Michigan, you'll find there are going to be people that be like, I ain't turning this heat on yet.
And we one of them.
We be holding off like Michigan people, and I might be... At least when I was growing up, Michigan people, we will hold out to turn on the heat. We would tell you to put on another layer of clothes, but we ain't riling up that heating the heating system yet. That's just like the air conditioner. I'll be like, okay, it's getting toward the summer. I'm like, is this air conditioning coming on? Now, I don't mind paying the bill, or we don't mind paying the bill, but it's just the old in me that I just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the longer you hold out, the better. I do. I feel like you can appreciate it a little more, and it don't allow you to get comfortable because
the kid's character is so much stronger that way.
It is.
Look, okay. So yes, it's cold. Just let y'all know.
So how you doing this morning? Other
than that, I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay. What's on your brain this morning?
Okay, so I had a conversation with a friend. This was wasn't a long time ago. It was like some months ago. But it came to mind this morning when I was thinking about you. So just to give you an understanding, so I have friends. I have married friends and I have single friends. And at our age, being married and single, it looks so much different than when we were younger. And so my one friend is single and she dates well. Meaning the men are pretty good in regards to like income and, traveling and wanting to do some of those types of things, like really well matched with her financially. And so one of the things that irritates her is having these types of men that she's interested in dating that are like her equal, and then competing with younger women or women who, not even necessarily younger women, but women who have learned or it's their practice to pour all of these words onto men about how great they are, right? And make them feel really big and make them feel really like they're just pouring a lot of compliments on them. And I remember her saying, there was a guy she was dating, making great money, really nice guy. Now, in our previous conversations, really nice guy. He's really funny. He's, I have a good time with him. He's traveled a lot. I love talking to him about that, blah, blah, blah. And so she was like, he was talking about his friend's girlfriend, and they're sitting there near them, and the girlfriend is like pouring all these compliments on this guy. Not her guy, the woman's guy. And so my friend was like, well, she was like, it's just weird, like dating. She was like, there's these expectations that these women are setting. She said, I'm not going to sit here and build up your ego, just so you can feel good about yourself. She was like, it's unnecessary. I was kind of like, wait a minute, like, what's wrong with that? Right? I was thinking to myself, I don't have a problem with telling you, like, oh, you look nice today, you're handsome, or I love how you do this, I love how you do that. It was kind of weird to me that she had said that, and I was like, okay, is that coming from, where is that place coming from? And our conversation kind of it got carried away somewhere else, so I couldn't really ask. But I was wondering about it today because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if a guy is great and you think it's awesome that he has his own business or he has a lucrative job, when you talk to him, you feel like he's so smart. I don't know what's necessarily wrong with pouring that out onto him, but I think she was feeling like, when you're jocking, You remember? So when we were younger, I was like, dang, you jocking? Because you talk so much about how great somebody is. And it's like, you all on you know what I'm saying? I think that that might be it. That might be that she's coming from a place where we didn't do that. And these younger women, that's not really, I don't really know how younger women date. I just know that was something that really, really got her. And she was like, and they're just eating it up. They're eating it up. I would expect somebody to eat it up if somebody is telling them how great they are here, there, and everywhere. But,
you know, I guess I don't think she understands, because I don't even understand, like, what does it mean to compliment your partner in that capacity where she feels like she wouldn't do that? What does she think it looks like? And honestly, I don't think I've ever looked for compliments. In my head, I was already arrogant enough. And when I say that, I'm saying like, I don't think I needed that. So when you said like, it's okay to do that to men, like, I don't think I looked for it. So
I was going to ask you, do men look for it?
I don't know any man, like, I ain't gonna lie, until recent, last 10 years, you hear like women they're not as supportive to their men, or they don't say the right things to support. They always like, I don't know, like, I guess the messaging I'm hearing is that women are more mean, less fire. I don't know. But I don't know any man that says my wife, you tearing me down, or my girl. Like, if you're with somebody who's like that, they didn't become like that. Mm. That's who they were before. So if you thought you could change that part, or you didn't think that part was serious, I think that's the man's fault.
What part? What do you mean?
Like accepting a woman who's talking down or wouldn't.
Well,
like,
she wasn't talking down. She was just saying she wasn't gonna like pump up his ego with.
No, I get it. That's what I'm saying.
Overly complimenting about his accomplishments.
I don't know any man
good.
Who's saying like, "Oh, you don't compliment me enough."
Okay.
You know, like, to me, I feel like a woman that has to do that for somebody, he's not very confident. Yeah, and she's probably not attracted to men who aren't confident. So she don't have to do that. Like, if she dealt with men like that, maybe she was like, maybe I'm giving this good old push. But she don't attract those kind of guys. Most of the guys she's attracted to, they have some type of confidence about themselves where she feels
she doesn't have to do that
correct.
stuff. I like that. But you know, the other part of it made me think, and now I think differently. So then I was like, there's no problem in doing that, like saying, oh, you this, you that. But in my head, I'm thinking, you don't see men doing that to women either. Like what? Oh, you're looking beautiful today. I love how. Well, I guess now we're getting into the point where we're trying to love on people with words of, affirmation and all that other stuff. But I understand the confidence thing. Like, if you're dating someone who's confident, you don't feel like you gotta lay out their resume to them and give them gold stars every so often and say, you're awesome.
I do want to say also, we're just learning how to be in a relationship. So,
yeah.
So people before was just doing the best they could. They didn't know that it required like more than, like we're learning, like I'm learning that I should say things throughout the day. I'm learning like what it takes for a person to feel like safe.
What do you mean by you should say things throughout the day?
Like, you're beautiful. Like, you look nice today.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. That always feels good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, or, hey, I was thinking about you. Hey, I love you. I didn't get to say this. I'm sorry I didn't say this yesterday. Like things that like just feeling it, like fillers. Mm-hmm. And some people feel like, I don't have to do that because I know my woman loves me, or she know I love her. But it doesn't hurt. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you don't know if that person needs it. Mm-hmm. So if it doesn't hurt, why not do it?
Right.
But you don't know that it could help because I think people are lazy, just from the environment. And when I say lazy, they don't want to go over and beyond because they see somebody doing more than them and they don't like the results they're getting. It's like, I'm not working that hard. They don't realize that they're probably not working that hard. They're just working harder than they can see. But I'm like, if you work harder than them, it's probably going to look different than that. So to me, I feel like if we learn how to actually be in a relationship where the compliments throughout the day, not looking at like I'm not doing this to that person, like, why not? You know, like, I think that's something within yourself that you feel like the, I guess it's the immaturity aspect of the jocking aspect. Because, you know, before, like, if it's a woman that's really attractive, like, man, you jocking. If you were confident, you'd be like, I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you're like, no, I'm not. And it'd be somebody you really love, but you can't do it because you can't look like you all up on it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why not?
You jocking.
Yeah, like that. Like, that's going to, like, destroy your future. Like, this week is going to be horrible if everybody finds out I'm jocking Halle Berry. You know what I'm saying?
Now we really going back to the 90s.
I am. I'm jocking.
Yeah, I hear you. I think that's one of the things about when she said it, I couldn't understand because from my perspective, I want to be able to every so often tell you how great you are. But at the same time, I definitely understand what you mean because she's extremely confident. She don't need nobody telling her nothing. And she does date men who know who they are. So that makes sense. So when she's watching it, she must be thinking like, why is that necessary? Because that hasn't been a requirement.
Yep. And you know what's so crazy? She don't even understand the game is probably being able to bring somebody up to where she is, because the person that's where she is, mm-hmm. they're not thinking like she thinks they're supposed to be thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have these things that complement each other, but the mindset is completely different. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't know if she really wants to enjoy life, she's going to have to be attracted to somebody who can hold their own, but she's going to be able to compliment him, to elevate him, to give her what she needs.
Well, I think that in your response, it just shows how she used to tell me, this is the one that tell me all the time, you don't know what it's like to date now. Like, you haven't been dating in forever. Dating now at this age in these circles, it's different. And you, just as simple as saying that, made it make so much more sense to me. That's something that she understands and she's grown to know that I didn't. And that's why I was going to ask you, like, do y'all need compliments or do y'all not like compliments? Because I didn't understand why she said it.
I think that,
but now I do.
Well, she's getting messages also. She's trying to figure out why she's single. And when you hear these things, and you're talking about what I'm not willing to go through, like, this is what the reason why I'm here, you're like, I'm not doing that either. Like, you know, it's like one of those things where, which one of these messages really say the reason why I am where I am? Because I've done everything I can not to be here. Mm-hmm. But this message right here, it doesn't fit me. I'm not.
Well, she was in the same situation as this other woman. She's dating exclusively with this man. Mm-hmm. So I think it was just irritating to her because she was like, why are you know how when you're at work and somebody is doing way too much and you be like, why are you doing all of that? Now you gonna have all these people out here expecting, or even like men, if they're out and on a couple's date and then they always have the joke where the one couple, the guy is so attentive and stuff, and then the other couple, the woman is looking at her man like, why can't you be more like him? Yeah. So it's like increasing the level, like adding more onto or unnecessary thing. In that case, it's not unnecessary if you're treating your woman right. But in the case with her, she was like, why is all of that even happening?
That's what I'm saying.
And creating this expectation.
So let me ask you this. So let me get a better understanding. This person is listening to somebody who's in a relationship saying we should be doing this.
No. So they were just out.
I'm just wondering about where did the compliment thing come from where men need it?
Yeah. So she was just saying that it just looked like the woman was just like, oh, you're just so this, and oh, you're in your body, or you know, and it was just like, you're just so handsome. Oh, you have all these muscles, that kind of feel. And
they sound like a new relationship.
Yeah, she was just like, it's just so much.
It is. To me, it sounded like, who wants to hear that?
Yeah, but when she said it to me, she was like, I'm not going to be doing all of that stuff, like up in his ego like that. And I was like, why? But now I understand from that perspective, it's about the confidence of the man and the expectation, and that's not important. And if the men are looking like that's not important, I mean, it's not I'm not mad at it if she does it, but that's not a necessity. I guess I was just sitting there thinking, why does she take that stance of saying, I'm not doing that?
Because it's extra.
It is extra. But and for who she dates, it's not necessary. However, the woman that was doing it, I don't think she was on the same, like, she was dating up. And so maybe that she was younger and she was dating up. She wasn't on the same level as everyone else. Whereas my friend, it's going to
be very difficult for her to date up.
Yeah. But I'm saying if you're dating someone where you don't feel like you're dating up, where you gotta, let me make sure I'm securing the bag. She don't have to secure no bag. So I guess that might have been another aspect. It is a new relationship. It's somebody trying to make sure that they stay. If you're dating up, you're trying to stay in that bracket.
So
and that wasn't really a concern for her.
Just think about the woman who's doing that, right? Somebody told her that's what she should do.
Yeah.
And she's just saying, like, if I can do anything to increase myself to be like, I'm going to try it out.
Yeah.
So I just don't see women just doing that unless they've heard maybe it worked. It'll work. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants to be on the other end of a joke, and they're trying to get the best result.
So when you're thinking about men, y'all don't necessarily need it. Do you all feel like
the men that I'm around make me feel like we don't look for that? Now I can hear insecurities in men, but I don't think that I be hearing like, man, women need to say this. I've heard those things, but not amongst the people that I've been around. Like, I guess the men that I don't know, maybe it's too much pride to tell something like that. But for the most part, I think the men that I've been around had women that were a little more respectful, I guess, in that capacity. They were aware that you can't beat up your partner. And it may have happened, but it wasn't like the way that I think I'm hearing it.
Okay.
What was the question you just said? And I'm just trying.
I was just saying, I was feeling like you don't want to, you don't feel like men are looking for it. Do you guys feel like women are looking for it?
I think women, they shouldn't look for it. I think, okay, check this out. The conversation I had with my friend yesterday, he was like, we just didn't learn how to court women properly. I was like, for real.
Tell me what that is.
Well, we didn't know what it was, but I'm saying, like, we can look back. And I said, you know what it was? It was getting the most out of a woman doing the least. You wanted the story like you were that suave where you didn't have to talk.
Who did that? Who started that?
Men. Well, I know that, like, just think about Rico Suave.
I remember that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just when we grew up, Players and Pimps was a real thing in the 90s. Like, men wanted to fall in the category because they wanted to be loved by women. And, the men that I was around wanted that attention. So, to me, I feel like when you move like that, the women always get the short end of the stick because we playing a different game. And I didn't know that was the game I was playing, but I did know it was the game I was playing. I didn't know that it wasn't the best game to be playing. But if you think like that's the game you playing, like I was trying to be the best at it. But all of my friends were.
You know what though? We did grow up and the music was like Pimps and Players all day. It wasn't Teddy Pendergrass talking about come on and go with me.
And it was talking about women were more open to participating in. Yeah. So it made it real easy to say, hey, this is what we're supposed to be doing.
Who did that? Who gave us the Pimps and the Players? Man, look, and was rocking out to that music. It said, look, the other thing about that is in music when we were younger, like, sometimes I'll recite lyrics to my kids of music we used to listen to, and they would just look at me like, what in the world? Like, in Michigan, it'd be booty music, right? So you go to the club, and they'll play the music. The music is absolutely horrible. Bald head, scallywag, ain't got no hair in the back. Like,
the lyrics, it's fun. It's just like, dang, they put these words together and made it fun.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh, you down south. It's if you know the song, you'll know what I'm talking about. But every word, it was just like the most disrespectful mess to girls. And we was out there popping our butt and having us a good old time. And it's like, y'all were getting that message. Our message was,
be available.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can get out of this.
Yes. And then, our favorites, Lil' Kim and Foxy, came through, and then they were hey, let me show you how we could do it so it really, really flipped. Those things happening around the same time really helped to change the dynamic. Why would you guys think about courting? Like, boys to men couldn't fight against all of that. Like, jagged hit. Like, they all could combat that messaging that was coming out. And when I'm thinking about music, Shaka talking about Sweet Thing, it's like loving songs to people. Whitney Houston, thinking about Stevie Wonder, the stuff they were singing, Luther Vandross. None of all of that was loving up on some type of woman and finding your person and being sweet. That wasn't what we got.
Yeah, it was unfortunate because if we would have just had a little more information, I think the women we encountered could have had maybe more success with future relationships. The men the women deal with kind of like check this out. He was like, man, every woman I get, they be making me deal with their past relationships. I said, you know what that means? You probably shouldn't be single because that's the consequence of being single at this age.
You got to help deal with other people's. But that's anybody.
My point is,
you get out of it, you still go with that person. You're still going to be helping them.
But I'm saying, if you're at an age and you feel like you got to do that, you probably should have been in a relationship by now.
Oh, yeah. So you had less to deal with.
Correct.
Hey.
But you don't know that either. Mm-hmm. So
if you got in early, there would be less trauma to have to answer to.
And you know what? It's just like, it's just like when you don't know where you are in the grand scheme of happiness. And if you get to this ceiling part, right? You're like, I probably could do better with somebody else, not knowing that y'all was supposed to just work a little bit more, and you would have got over here, and then it was a new elevation, right? But if you get to this point and nobody tells you that it takes this extra conversation, this how are you going to respond next time? Are you willing to not do that? If you don't know these extra things, you'll stop that progress and go create another progress somebody else and find the same progress point with a different person, not knowing you never figured it out.
So with the friend that you were talking to before, did he figure out, like, what does he think courting is now?
I believe that he thinks courting is more so just trying to build a relationship to see if you're compatible, and removing the sexual component out. He feels like introducing that at a young age, he told me that he felt like he had the messaging that he was going to be married to a young lady he grew up with. Mm-hmm. And she broke his heart, and it changed his perspective. And I was like, for real? And he was like, yeah. And then he told me who his influence was. I was like, oh, I guess you would have really done that. He said, I would have. But when he said it broke his heart, he was just watching all the other men. He was like, that ain't going to happen again. And I was like, even if I found like a high school sweet, I never thought I was going to be with that person for the rest of my life. It never crossed my mind. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be with somebody in high school for the rest of that. Yeah. So then, but when he showed me, he told me another perspective that I didn't even consider. I was like, some people do get exposed to like some good stuff and can get sidetracked if you don't have somebody saying, man, hey, that's supposed to happen. That's just to make you understand that, hey, that wasn't going to work, but you can find it in the next person. She didn't know how to protect your heart. You gave it to her too soon. Just imagine if you got somebody say, hey, you can't give everybody your heart, because if somebody breaks it, you may not give the next person who deserves it the opportunity to hold it. So to me, I feel like where I am now, that's why I said the kids, if they ever came to me with some difficult questions, I'm going to give them some reality answers where it makes sense emotionally. You don't know for sure, but from my experience, this is probably what's going to happen if you do this. They're not going to be happy, or hey, I think they'll be happy. And then once you know how people respond, you make better decisions going forward when you're engaged with another person. Or at least that's where I feel.
Yeah. You enlightened me today.
I did?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
Well, you helped me understand my friend, which is odd because this is like the other side of my brain sometimes. My friend, she is. But I just couldn't grasp that. But you helped me. But you also helped me to realize that my husband was trained by pimps and players to...
Well, no, my father wasn't either or. But
well, the music
that I was listening to was way more entertaining than how my father was getting.
Yes. Well, you were being trained by the pimps and players, and I was being trained by booty music. Well, I wasn't really being trained by it. We just really enjoyed it, but we would...
You were open-minded to that messaging.
Yeah, I feel like when you're listening to certain music and it's exciting and it sounds fun and adventurous, even at that time, that was adventurous to be more... sexually open and stuff.
Just think about it now. The music now, people are more open to taking drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like another 20 years, there's going to be a population of people like, man, everybody was pill popping, from the music.
Yeah. I just...
Drugs used to be bad in music, and now it's like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to bring out different results out of the artist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you are driven by money, you'll be willing to continue to put that in your body, and it's making other people feel like that's what I want to do too. People don't understand how important they are or how influential their experiences, because if somebody's like, dang, they did that, what can I get out of it? So we've got to just be more responsible, especially with us being in a relationship, giving some of the best options to make better relationships.
I wonder what's the running theme of the music that our kids listen to now.
I don't know. I think they don't. They're pop, so they're safe.
We're gonna have to explore that because I want to make sure. I don't want to just assume.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, well, I know that they still say no to drugs. Or at least they make me feel that way.
Yeah.
So to me, I feel like they're not experimenting with the idea that. Well, I do believe that people who experiment in drugs, they're not addicts at all. It's the people that don't like their life. Like if they got a tough life, they'll take drugs a little more. So I don't have a problem with it. I just wish people were more responsible. Like as adults, like you can't be a kid. Your body hasn't fully developed. You shouldn't be putting foreign things in your body when you haven't matured properly. And I feel like they make it acceptable because other people have gotten away with it. And, I know we didn't start on that, but yeah, I just want to make sure we're putting out the best information for people to be successful.
Yeah. Okay. We'll look into that.
Yeah. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
No, I don't want to give it.
You sure?
No, nobody. As per usual.
No. Well, shout out to all the educators. We are in September.
Ooh.
The year is on the way. I want you to have a wonderful week and make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose.